Brian or Tucker, who wants to?
I mean, I can start off with a few words. Just it's obviously been a little while since we all had the opportunity to get together. There were some questions, obviously, that came out of our last session. And one of the items, really the principal item that we have been investigating with, guidance and direction from the finance department, procurement office, and their advisors to the town on financial matters, Hilltop Securities, along with Lord Locke Bond Counsel, is really around the funding that the town potentially could provide to a project, given what was included in the proposal that we received. And so really, I think I'm going to turn it over to Brian Turbett, who's going to give us guidance on that.
Thanks, Tucker. So we spent exhaustive amount of time with bond counsel, and subsequent to bond counsel discussions, I spent an exhaustive amount of time with John Giorgio talking about this. The proposal really had, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to find it in here, but it had a suggested or a component that the town would finance $15 million of the construction costs of this project. After numerous meetings with bond counsel, their first reaction was there's no way the town can participate at $15 million, A, because it already owns the land. Statutorily, the town has the ability, the town itself and through its Affordable Housing Trust has the ability to acquire interest in land, which we had already acquired the interest in both of these parcels already. So when we're looking at developers asking for the town to consider making a contribution or helping offset some of the development costs, in scenarios where we already own the land, we are looking at the value of the affordability restrictions because bond counsel really looks at the affordability restrictions as running with the land and creating the situation that would allow us to consider that to be an investment in property. So what we really have to do is look at what the market rate rent would be and then subtract from that the proposed affordability restriction. And that delta is really what we're paying for on a basis where we are analyzing it essentially over the life of the debt that we would be financing. And really, that's what bond counsel has said that our limit would really be. And in this case, Christy, I know you did it, but if memory serves me right, we were really looking that the maximum contribution that the town would be able to put into this project, if it was inclined, would be in the range of $5 to $6 million, I think is what we calculated, which obviously creates a very big delta. So then we kind of went back and said, well, had to talk with Tucker, had to talk with Christy and said, could we go back and see if the developer had any other funding sources, whether they were going to put equity into the project, whether they could go get conventional mortgages. And we kind of talked that around. And then I talked to John Giorgio in my capacity, not only as finance director, but as chief procurement officer. And one of the things that when we do a procurement that we have to be very, very careful of is not unleveling or unbalancing the playing field. And did we create a scenario where a bidder is in this case, would we create a scenario by essentially negotiating with the proposer to fix a flaw or a gap in their proposal? Would that create a scenario if that other proposers had known that this was a possibility? Would they have actually participated? And ultimately, both John and I felt that if we were to just go back to the single proposer and give them an opportunity to correct or fix the proposal, potentially by finding outside funding, that it would create a scenario where another developer, if they knew that this had happened, could ultimately complain that we had created an unlevel playing field because they didn't know that those would be the rules that were being followed based on the way we put this RFP out. So at the end of the day, where does that leave us all? It leaves us really with only one alternative because we cannot, for two reasons. A, we cannot meet the $15 million ask that's in this proposal. There was already a little bit of a problem, just to give the committee and the review committee a little bit of understanding. The mezzanine level financing was an automatic no from bond counsel. So we were really automatically looking at a $13 million potential. But given the fact that we are down to about a $5 to $6 million potential, there is just such a large gap. And with no ability to give the proposer a chance to try to determine whether they have other sources of funding, the only option we have right now is to reject this proposal. We really cannot move forward with it, unfortunately. And I know it was a long road to get to having one proposal, to getting a proposal submitted. And I know that the group put an awful lot of work into this proposal, but it just, at this point, there really is no way to save the proposal for the town to be able to continue to evaluate it. So that's really, for the review committee, the only option that you have on the table right now at this point. And we will have to go back to the, I hate to use the word drawing board, but we'll have to go back to the drawing board with the Affordable Housing Trust on what to do, on how to put all these properties that we own out. Is it make sense to bundle them all and get them out all at once? How do we do this? But there's not really an out for us with this particular proposal right now for 135, 137, Orange Street.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. I know that you and the advising team put a lot of time into thinking about this, and I know that you're very supportive of something happening here. I think we're in a little bit of a box on this. Do any of the members of the committee have questions for Brian about what he just shared?
Tucker, I don't. I just thank Brian for his concise description of exactly what happened with finding out that fact-finding mission that him and John Giorgio and bond counsel, et cetera, were on.
I know we have other members of the public and interested parties here on the call. Any questions from folks generally? And we have the applicant here. All right. So with no further discussion, Brian, is it the procurement office that would issue?
Yes. So you would make a recommendation to reject the proposal, and then we would write the rejection letters outlining why in the letter. So that's what the committee would do, and then the procurement office would make that recommendation to the manager to allow us to reject it.
So is that something that we should take a vote on perhaps today?
Yeah. I would suggest that you take a vote on it.
All right. So would anyone like to make a motion to reject the proposal in accordance with the reasons and rationale that the finance director and chief procurement officer shared with us?
I'll make that motion.
Second. By roll call, Tom Dixon.
Aye.
Laura Schufel.
Aye.
Leslie Snell.
Aye.
And Tucker Holland also votes aye. Doug Abbey was not able to be here today.
Okay.
All right. Well, with no additional business, I think we've done what we need to today, unfortunately, but we've done what we need to. Thank you, everybody.
So from the developers team, there will be another RFP put out at some time in the very near future. What that looks like at this point, I don't know, but it will be, some of the internal parts of it will be reworked with the understandings that we have, and everything will be put back out. So just so that you're aware of what the plan is.
Thank you again, Brian. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
All right, thanks, sir. Vicky, we're all done.
Vicky?
Hi,
Vicky, we've wrapped it up.
are you done?
We're done. So, Brian, basically guided us that we need to reject the proposal based on several different factors. He asked for the committee to formally vote to reject the proposal, which we did. And
Oh, hold on,
the-
hold on. I'm still recording.
I'm sorry.